Now let's begin the conversation, shall we? For continued growth and development as Africa's largest city, Lagos must spend big to provide the required amenities for residents. In line with this, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has presented the 2025 Appropriation Bill of 3.005 trillion naira to the State House of Assembly for consideration. The proposed budget surpassed the 2.267 trillion naira approved for 2024, signaling an ambitious financial plan for the state. Tagged Budget of Sustainability, Governor Sanwo-Olu said it is a blueprint for continuity, resilience and prosperity for residents. Now let's hear from the Governor.
The year 2025 budget, as proposed, has a total budgetary size of 3,595,198,401 naira. 3,005,935,198,401. This budget comprises a total revenue of 2,597,034,000,000, 2,597,034,000,000, and a deficit financing of about 408,002,000,000 naira, 408,902,000,000. The total revenue comprising of internal revenue to be generated at 1,170,897,000,000 naira, and total federal transfers of 676,137,000,000 naira only. We equally propose a recurring expenditure of 1,239,000,000,000 naira, 818 million. For capital expenditure, we propose a total capital budget figure of 1,766,117,000,000,000. That means 1.766117 trillion. As follows: a capital expenditure of 1.452 trillion and a repayment of 313.515 billion naira.
All right, let's bring the conversation home. Let me start with you, Majid Jami. Now that the governor has presented the 2025 budget proposal, to the State Assembly, what are your expectations, for the budget for the continued growth of Lagos? What are your expectations of this budget?
Yeah, I think I will start from where the governor spoke about the performance of the 2024 budget.
Yes.
As at the third quarter of this year, the 2024 budget, capital expenditure, they have done about 75%, which is good. It's a pass mark. And for the current, they have done about 90% of the current year.
Yes.
And we are in the third quarter. I mean, that's figures for the first 3 quarters of the year. And also, if you look at the fact that the budget, the appropriation for next year,
yes,
is about almost 700 billion, more than the appropriation for last year, which means the government plans, the Lagos State government plans to spend more, so that they can accommodate a lot of things. They spoke about some roads, completion of the red line, the expansion of blue line, and some other projects, flyovers, health sector, a lot of other areas. It's a very ambitious budget.
Very ambitious.
Give it to Lagos any day. You can. They are expecting an IGR of above 1 trillion internally generated revenue. Yes. So most of these monies will be internally generated. They're only relying on about 600 billion from
allocation. Yeah,
from FAC. So, which means although it's a deficit financing budget, of course, the state has the capacity, to cushion that. I think the deficit projected for the 2025 5 budget is just about 400 billion, which is still within the threshold.
Yes.
So it's a very ambitious budget, and like I said, it's a budget of sustainability. You know, it started from continuity in 2023 and moved to a budget of renewal for this year, and it's moving to a sustainable budget, as in they are trying to sustain the growth which they have started since its first time. So this is a sixth budget.
Okay. Lagos is a center of excellence for a reason. Yes, he talked about this budget is an ambitious one. But let's look at the past budget, the 2024. How would you talk about budget performance? How would you assess it? So far, so good.
Okay, so let's look at, you know, this time last year, the governor talked about he talked about environment, talked about education, talked about security and all of that.
Yes.
And if you take each of them individually, you realize that he has performed excellently well.
Okay.
Talk about environment, talk about education, talk about technology, talk about security and all. Now let's even look at transportation. He has performed very well. Look at what he has done with the rail line.
Yeah, the blue line,
blue
red
line and the red line.
And other lines are still coming.
Other lines are still in the offing. And, you know, I'm very impressed by the governor because, you see, when you look at Lagos State is a trailblazer state. Lagos State is a place where people tend to believe that they're going to find succor. So such a state has to be ready for the people. But what I was thinking that they should begin to lay emphasis on agriculture. You would wonder
when
that
you say agriculture, we don't have enough land.
Just a moment.
Okay.
A few years back, the state had a collaboration with Kebbi State.
Yes.
And they came up with Lake Rice. So what happened to Lake Rice? They can do more than Lake Rice. They can have collaboration with other states.
Yeah, like Ogun State.
Like Ogun State, like every other state for whatever they need from that state. So I'm looking at the governor should, you know, factor in all of this into the budget. They should consider it because people are hungry. Irrespective of whatever infrastructure you put on ground, if you look at the ladder, the most of the people who are suffering are around the lower rung of the ladder.
Yes.
Probably they might not be partakers of some of this infrastructure. So the best way to attend to their needs is by collaborating with some other states in terms of agriculture. So that at least let Lagos can be the food basket of Nigeria. Lagos is a trailblazer state.
It is possible.
Yes.
It is possible. Now, she has talked about agriculture. So what are the sectors do you think the governor should also look at, you know, as we wrap up 2024, going into 2025?
As a matter of fact, I mean, while chipping in one or two things on agriculture, I think Lagos is doing quite a lot on agriculture. This current year, I think Lagos partnered Ogun State by acquiring some farmlands.
Yeah, exactly.
In Ogun State. And also, I mean, there's a tomato belt in Badagry, which they are also replicating in Ekpe, and which will bring down. And if you look at the food hubs that is being built, I think there's one in Mushin where they sell subsidized food items. I think the government is doing something. I think they can expand on that
we also
to
have
all the
rice
local governments.
in Imota.
Yes, the rice mill in Imota.
Paddy rice or something?
Yes, no, it's a rice processing
yes, a rice
plant.
processing.
But then I think there's an arrangement to bring in paddy from, because they said they don't have, there's not enough paddy in Nigeria to feed that mill. I think the government has committed some funds into bringing in paddy from abroad to feed to serve as a raw material for the. So basically, I think the government spoke about the economic sector, which includes infrastructure and what have you, that is taking almost $1 trillion, which is about 900 billion. And I'm particularly impressed by the amount that is budgeted to environment, which is about 233 billion, and while education and health is taking about 204 and 208 billion respectively.
Okay.
These are still appropriations, I mean, which is subject to approval by the House of Assembly.
Yeah, exactly.
But then, I mean, it has shown a direction of where it's looking at, and not also forgetting social life and security of lives and property. A lot has been budgeted for that too, because Lagos remains one of the most secured, as kind of the kidnappings and terrorist activities.
No bank robbery.
Yeah, in the last 5 years.
Exactly.
I mean, there has been no
It's a very, very good.
I mean, this should be commended and sustainable.
All right, gentlemen, let's go straight